Hi, everybody. Welcome to English with Jamie. This is the advanced podcast. So this is not the beginner podcast. It's more difficult than the beginner podcast. It's not the intermediate. It's more difficult than the intermediate. It's the advanced. And when I say advanced, sometimes I speak really fast and that's too advanced. Sometimes I speak maybe more simply. You can tell me, is this advanced podcast too advanced? Is it too difficult? If you'd like me to speak a little slower or make it easier, please tell me in the comments on this page. Or if you see me, you can tell me. So I'm drinking some sparkling water. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 objects that were in the other podcasts. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about each one, or I'm going to talk a little more about each one. So where should we start? Where should we start? All right, so what is there to say about a spoon? I don't know if I can think of anything that interesting, but it is interesting to look at it. I think, if I remember right, in the spoon, the spoon will make the image go upside down. So, yeah, like if I put my finger in the spoon, the reflection of my finger goes the other way. So 2 words that you can learn about spoons are concave. Concave is this shape here. And I think convex is the outside. But this is definitely concave, the shape, the inside of the spoon, right? Actually, when I'm looking at my reflection here, I see my own face right side up, not upside down. But when I look at it this way, my face is upside down. That means the top is at the bottom and the bottom is at the top. Upside down. I think that's a very good phrase. So that's a fun fact about spoons, is that if you look inside the concave part, you will see your face upside down. Okay, that's pretty good for spoons. Let's talk about paper towels. All right. So here's an experiment you can do. Have you heard of millennials? So millennials is a word for people born between 1980, 84, and the year 2000, more or less, right? Roughly, about, more or less. People born between the years 1982, 83, 84, and 2000, they are called millennials. In the United States, we use this term millennials because the millennium was the year when it became the year 2000. This was a new millennium, right? You have, a decade is 10 years, a century is 100 years, and a millennium is 1,000 years. So in 1999, it was the end of the millennium, and the year 2000 was the beginning of a new millennium, the 3rd millennium. So anyway, people born during this time are called millennials. And many times, in the news, in magazines, and in newspapers, people like to talk about what are the differences between millennials and people born before. Me, I was born a little bit before. I was born in 1977. And of course, people born after the year 2000, they are called Generation Z. Generation Z. So anyway, one thing that people say about the millennial generation is that they don't use napkins. They don't use napkins. They use paper towels. So is that true? I don't know. You need to ask a millennial. But if you meet somebody and they are a millennial, ask them, do you use paper towels for napkins, or do you actually buy napkins? A napkin is, of course, it's like a paper towel, but it's made for eating during your meal, it's made for using while you're eating your meal. So there's not really that much of a difference. It's all paper. But of course, this is also paper, and many people don't use this at the dinner table. I think because of the other place where we use it, we don't want to use toilet paper as a napkin. But paper towels, they're in the kitchen. We use them to clean up If you spill something, if you spill water, if you spill anything, you can use the paper towel to clean it up. And so I think it feels very natural to put it on the dinner table and use it to clean your hands after you eat or while you're eating. And that's a really interesting question too. I know many different cultures have different customs about when you wash your hands when you're eating or which hand you eat with, right? In the United States, we use both hands to eat, most people, but we also use spoons and forks, so we're not touching the food usually with our hands, but sometimes we are. And, we also don't have a ritual of carefully washing our hands before the meal, which I know many, like in East Africa, I learned that it's very important before the meal. People would pass around water, and we would wash our hands in a very specific way so that we all knew our hands were clean. And then we would use our hands to eat. Anyhow, so paper towels. All right, toilet paper. I'm not going to talk about the normal uses of toilet paper. I'm not going to talk about what you would expect because I don't want to. I will talk about a very interesting or maybe strange use of toilet paper in the United States. So the initials for toilet paper are called TP, and when I was in high school, something that some other students would do or other people would do is they would go TPing. They would TP people's homes, which means they would take rolls and rolls of toilet paper, and in the middle of the night, they would go to someone's house and they would throw the toilet paper, like throwing it like, you have to throw it, I guess, like that. So it would unroll in the air, and it would get caught on the branches of the trees. And people would do this with many, many rolls of toilet paper, and they would keep throwing it, and it would come back down. They would do that until the whole roll of toilet paper was in the trees. And so suddenly the trees were filled with white toilet paper. And it would look almost like it had snowed. And if it did snow, then that was a big mess because the water would get on the toilet paper. But this was something that people would do like a prank. A prank is like to do something to bother someone or to make them react. I would say usually or often a prank is not kind. It's not being done to be respectful of someone. It's being done to make them feel bad sometimes. Or I think there were many different reactions to being TP'd. Maybe some people did it in a very friendly way. I never had my house TP'd. No one ever TP'd my house. And only one time I was around some people who went to TP someone else's house. I guess maybe I threw one or two. It was my friends. My friend said, "Let's go TP the neighbor's house." And I'll talk to you more about the group of friends I had in high school later. But I was at the edge of this group of friends, like the periphery. Like I wasn't very well liked in this group of people. So I just I felt like I didn't have very much power to make decisions, and I was with them, and they all said, "We're going to go do this," and I didn't really want to. I didn't think it was right. I didn't like the idea of throwing toilet paper on someone's house who I didn't even know. Or I was also confused, like, is this, do we like this person? Do we not like this person? I didn't really know her, so I think maybe it was just because, I really don't know. I don't know. But that's the only time I ever witnessed this happening. And I think I did throw the toilet paper some. And it did look kind of beautiful, I have to admit. It looked kind of beautiful to see the toilet paper up in the air. But I also, my dad later said, how do you feel about littering, just throwing trash on the ground? And I was like, okay, that's a good point. But, in high school, people do a lot of crazy things. And that's a whole nother conversation. This is not formal English, but people say this a lot. Whole nother. Like a whole nother. Let's see. I think we have only one more thing to talk about. Oh, no, two more things. Okay, a mango. I think mangoes are interesting because they are found in so many places in the world, and I love mangoes. And like I said in the other video, I like to eat them with sticky rice. What's your favorite way to eat a mango? And then finally, these two bowls. Honestly, I don't think I have anything interesting to say about bowls, so I'm not even going to try. But I hope you have enjoyed listening to this this advanced podcast, and let me know which words you understood, which words you didn't understand. There is a transcript. If you listen to this and didn't understand it, and you didn't know this, you can click the CC, and you will see. Click the CC, and you will see auto-generated transcriptions, auto-generated text for the English. So you won't see punctuation, you won't see the end of the sentence or the beginning of the next sentence, but you will see the words I'm saying. And if you see words you don't understand, please write them in the comments, and I can help explain them in the next video. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.